Welcome back to Through the Ages. After Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, his successor Joshua took command. Joshua faced a significant challenge ahead. The Israelites had been wandering in the desert for 40 years, and they were finally at the edge of Canaan, the land that God had promised them. However, there was one major obstacle in their way: the city of Jericho. Now, Jericho was a fortress with towering, thick walls that seemed impossible to break through. The inhabitants of Jericho felt secure and invulnerable within its confines, observing the Israelites from a distance. However, Joshua understood that with God's help, anything was possible. One evening, as Joshua approached Jericho, he encountered a mysterious figure holding a sword. Joshua asked, "Are you for us or for our enemies?" "Neither," he replied, "but as commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come." Joshua immediately knew this was an angel. He bowed in respect, knowing he was in the presence of God's messenger. The angel gave Joshua an unusual plan to capture Jericho. The following day, Joshua assembled the Israelites and explained the plan. Instead of attacking the city walls directly, they would march around the city once each day for 6 days, in complete silence. 7 priests would lead them, blowing ram's horn trumpets, followed by the Ark of the Covenant. On the 7th day, they would march around Jericho 7 times. After that, the priests would sound their trumpets, and everyone would shout as loud as they could. For 6 days, the Israelites followed this plan, circling Jericho in silence. The people inside the city must have been so confused. An army marching without a sound, no yelling, no battle cries. Day by day, the people of Jericho grew more nervous. Then came the 7th day. The Israelites rose early and marched around Jericho 7 times. When they finished the 7th circuit, the priests blew their trumpets and Joshua signaled the army. The entire force shouted together as loud as they could. And just like that, the ground began to tremble. The walls of Jericho cracked, shook, and collapsed. The Israelites surged into the city and conquered it, winning a pivotal victory on their journey to the Promised Land. This story of Joshua and Jericho became legendary, showing how faith in God's plan can overcome any obstacle, no matter how formidable it may appear. The first battle in which the Israelites conquered Canaan is depicted in Jean Fouquet's 1472 painting, The Fall of Jericho. Jean Fouquet, a 15th century French painter, created this work as part of his renowned illustrated manuscript, The Antiquities of the Jews, which was commissioned by a powerful nobleman with an interest in biblical narratives. Fouquet worked in a time when illustrated manuscripts were prized by the nobility as symbols of wealth and power. In The Fall of Jericho, Fouquet captures the moment when the walls of Jericho collapse at the sound of the Israelite trumpets, a pivotal event depicted in the Old Testament. The illustration is divided into dynamic sections that guide the viewer's eye through a sequence of actions. Fouquet portrays Jericho as a fortress in the background, emphasizing the city's strength and, by extension, the divine force required to bring about its destruction. Fouquet employs perspective techniques that draw influence from the Italian Renaissance, giving the work a sense of depth and realism. The architectural details of Jericho are meticulously rendered, with an almost 3-dimensional quality, which emphasizes the city's grandeur and makes its sudden destruction all the more impactful. The depth of the scene is enhanced by the positioning of figures in the foreground, middle ground, and background, creating a layered effect that invites viewers to explore different aspects of the narrative. Fouquet's color palette is rich, utilizing blues, reds, and earthy tones that give the scene a vibrant yet controlled energy. This strategic use of color not only distinguishes the Israelites from the doomed inhabitants, but also enhances the dramatic tension between the holy and the secular. So in summary, Fouquet's painting is not only beautiful, it also narrates a story that vividly brings this ancient event to life. Through his artwork, we are reminded of Joshua's courage and the strength of faith that contributed to the fall of Jericho's walls. This story has inspired people for generations and continues to be celebrated in both art and history. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed exploring this powerful narrative and the art it has inspired.